Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyādi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasishtha Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, section 4 continues. Section is entitled The Cessation of the Chitta. Chitta is your mind stuff, very tough. The entire world experience is the play of Chitta. This profound insight Lord Rama received. Rama here is playing the role of an ideal aspirant whose ears are completely free of all muck. So when he listens, he assimilates. Sage Vasishtha continued, O sinless Rama. And that address can be given to any aspirant, because that's what you want to understand. You are not the body. Identified with body identity, you become the source of all troubles, miseries, sins, and all relative experiences that are transient. But the reality in you is Rama, the absolute self. So that applies to everyone. O sinless Rama, O pure aspirant. When the Chitta, with its varied aspects of mind, intellect, ego, and senses, has been discovered to be nothing but the self, how can the jiva, individual soul, retain its existence? Jivas, for easy understanding, I always give this simile of sun reflected in a jar of water. Reflected sun and all that goes on for the reflected sun, all that is unreal. Because the reflected sun has no independent existence. The reality behind the reflected self is the sun. The reality behind your awareness, your consciousness that expresses through your senses, through your mind, through your intellect, through your ego, your consciousness that expresses through your physical realities and physical problems, your mental problems, in your feelings. That consciousness is pure, absolute. Just like you can dream, you go through so many things. But behind all the things you go through in your dream, it was your own awareness, consciousness. that brought about all things. So beware of relative awareness. And all the while you went through your dream, you were completely at rest. I'm speaking allegorically. Just as one moon is seen as many when it is either reflected in many pools of water or seen through some defective vision. Simple illustrations. Moon is shining. Moon is one up there. But in different pools of water, you have many moons. And you don't have to use that simile. You have certain eye trouble. Or if you want to create the eye trouble, put your finger a little above your eyelid. Press upon it and see how things appear totally different. Oneself appears as many objects due to ignorance. Here again I can remind you of when we talk about seeing, vision, the scriptures bring out 3 types of vision. Charma chakshu, divya chakshu, jnana chakshu. Charma chakshu, charm means skin, skinny eyes. All these eyes are considered skinny eyes. Charma chakshu. Yeah. And another aspect of charma chakshu, all that you see is only the skin, not going beyond. You see a human being, but through charma chakshu, you don't know the person's deeper quality or feeling or what world the person lives in. All that you see is the person, what he wears, what type of fashion has been adopted, etc., etc. So that's called charma chakshu. The experience of the world based on your charma chakshu. Divya chakshu, when you have gone through sadhana, practice of meditation, and awakened your kundalini to a certain extent, not complete, or have attained certain degree of integration, Divya chakshu, suddenly your mind develops that sensitivity to catch glimpses of very advanced heights. It's like you are going into the Himalayan mountains. Suddenly you catch the glimpse of big mountains, Mount Everest, Mount Kailash. You have not reached there, but you can catch it. And when you do that, there is a big thrill that's called Jnana Chakshu, the other Divya Chakshu. Gita gives you illustration of Divya Chakshu. When Arjuna insisted that he would like to see some divine miracle of divine form, Lord Krishna presented himself in the form of, first he described how all things that are glorious in the world, they are expressions of God. And then he suddenly manifested 1,000 arms, 1,000 heads, 1,000 feet. All that was allegorical, but all the Divya Chakshu brings allegorical glimpse. It's very inspiring. But no matter how great it is, you don't attain enlightenment. It paves the way for it, but you don't attain enlightenment. So that again is a simple understanding People go to certain temples and get into a certain ecstasy, seeing the image of the deity. Certain big experience develops. And if they are wise, they will continue their sadhana for higher attainment. If they are not wise, they stay with it, that they have had darshan and they have attained the highest. But that's not the highest. So that type of role is played by Divya Chakshu, the divine vision. The ideal that you must attain is called Jnana Chakshu. Jnana Chakshu is enlightened mind experiencing the world. In experiencing, you have constant understanding. What you are experiencing is through limited senses. You put on the eyeglass, knowing that it has certain type of quality, that will enlarge things. So when you put it on, you know that you want to have things be enlarged. In other words, you are not duped that the things are exactly the way you are seeing. But still you use it. That's an illustration, example of how you begin to view your own senses as if you are putting on glasses, using instruments. So whatever you see through your eyes is not exactly real. But enjoy it, be all practical, do all your practical duties, but not be duped that all things that come within the range of your eyes are real. They are not real. What lies before your eyes? What lies? Or lies. Similarly, in relation to all the senses, in relation to mind itself, you are calm and suddenly your mind brings a certain question. Now your calmness goes away, you jump around. Your intellect, your ego itself plays a role like instrument. Your ego becomes suddenly so agitated that's like having a big headache. You can't handle it when your ego is agitated. So therefore you say, come to me next day. I will have good talk. Today I'm not in my mood. So I'm illustrating all these are instruments. Your chitta is the instrument, things that you have stored in as impressions. But where are you? You are using all the instruments. But the real you is like the real sun. A reflected sun has also its own illumination. It is illuminating the water. It is illuminating the worms in the water. It is playing a kind of show when water gets agitated. But the real illuminer is not the reflected sun, one sun. So therefore, that type of understanding, though you are experiencing the world of all types of news, but understand that all these experiences are being done by your mind, your intellect, your ego. The real you remains completely untouched. By realizing the innermost essence of the mind, the desires for the objects of the world are dispersed. Now let me first conclude on that. 3 visions I had told. Charma Chakshu, Divya Chakshu and Jnana Chakshu. But in order to have that Jnana Chakshu where you can see and understand the eyes, in ego, and all other instruments, they don't give you the exact reality. The exact reality is when Chitta has gone through a whole transformation. 3 impurities of the Chitta have been removed. When that happens, but how can it happen? Not by Charam Chakshu, not by Divya Chakshu, but by Jnana Chakshu. And in order to attain Jnana Chakshu, you have to go through Guru guidance. That's what even Krishna says in the Gita. Having shown his Virat form, he asks Arjuna, you will realize me by taking recourse to Guru, serving him, listening to his teachings, etc. He doesn't say, now we realize because you have seen my 1,000 heads. No. So that's the difference between Divya Chakshu and Jnana Chakshu. In Jnana Chakshu, it is revelation. Aham Brahmasmi. Your aham does not mix up with your ego. By realizing the innermost essence of the mind, the desires for the objects of the world are dispersed. First point to understand that if one is not enlightened, then your role is just like a reflected sun in a jar of water. Now, a reflected sun is never satisfied. It's always, every moment, news break. Countless changes go on occurring within the jar, and if you could raise your head above the jar, you will find the same predicament with all reflected suns in numerous jars. They are all crying, they are all lifting their heads. They are all agitated. They are all looking for more prosperity and so many things they are looking for. Reflected sun, reflected self is constantly a prey to craving, Trishna. And no matter how many changes may occur in the jar, you can send the jar and make it golden. Have very purified water in it. No matter how you do, the condition of the reflected sun do change. Looks very wonderful, clear. But it is not self-realization. It is a transient situation. So all your improvement made by your karmas and your self-effort that is conditioned by karma, all that you gain is what I have already explained, just like the gain of a reflected sun. But your project, your real purpose of life is to have the realization, I am the self. And therefore, I am the reality behind all reflected suns. If that happens, the desires for the object of the world are dispelled. You cannot hold on to the desire, how, oh God, give me long, long life, can you stay with the bucket? Then the notion that the objects are real is removed, and the veil of ignorance is torn asunder. A summarized version of giving you the understanding, the 3 impurities or 3 obstacles have to be removed. Mala, vikshepa and avarana. Mala is gross impurity, anger, hate, etc. Vikshepa is your confused subconscious. There is no clarity, all types of impressions have come together. Some are viruses, some are antiviruses. Klishta, aklishta. And all that is possible, all that becomes possible because of the veil of ignorance. So, all the real purpose of life and the real purpose of all religion is to guide the soul to be free of these three: mala, vikshepa and avarana. Just as with the dispersal of the clouds, the radiant sun reveals itself. When the clouds disperse, nothing else has to happen. Sun is already there. It's important to understand the simile. In the case of deluded and gain in the world, all gains in the world are deluded gains. You attain that gain in the realm of desires. Things you didn't have before, now you have them, but you have to work hard for them. For attaining liberation, it is not something that you didn't have before and now you have to get it. You are the self all the time, but you have lost your identity. And self-realization is a revelation movement. It's not something you are creating. Karma movement is a creating movement. You were stupid, now by karma you become little more intelligent. In reality, you are bambhola. You don't need to know all these things. Bambhola is a childlike. Lord Shiva is described bambhola. So all that happens is the dispersal of clouds of desires, dispersal of trishna, craving. With the breaking of the string of a rosary, the beads are scattered. In the same manner, with the eradication of the chitta, all the vasanas, subtle desires, are scattered and destroyed. All these are similes. String of a rosary. The rosary will be good, well stringed. Break the string and the rosary gets scattered. You no longer can do your japa with that. Unless you are a monkey. I'm joking. But what made the rosary so effective? The string. What makes the chit? All your experiences in the world, what makes them all real? Your chitta. What makes all the pictures in a cinema show real? It's that projecting machinery that's projecting the pictures. Your mind is the projecting device. So all your images that are being projected, the source is the chitta, chitta vritti nirodha. That very source, which is the string behind all your thoughts and imaginations and cravings, that chitta itself is sublimated. And that's a state of enlightenment. Again, reminding you of that two words, pratyaya bhav and bhava pratyaya. All your experiences in the world and all your story of life, from bondage to release, they are in the realm of vrittis of the chitta. But when you have attained freedom from the cycle of birth and death, that means freedom from the chitta itself. It's just like the sun that is no longer being restricted by cloud. Then that's the state of enlightenment. So that first state to understand that all things that you experience as real, that's bhava pratyaya. All your experiences are based on projection. Projection-based reality, that's what bhava pratyaya. Pratyaya bhav, projection negated reality. The whole cinema show is over. Then what is there, what is real? The screen. And that screen is pure consciousness, absolute self. O Rama, those who turn away from these teachings of the essence of the scriptures continue to whirl through the cycles of birth and death. You have no choice. If you turn away from these teachings given by sages and saints through the Vedas and scriptures, they continue to enter into the lowly embodiments of animals and worms as well. First, you can take this statement literally. Yes. How much a soul can go into repeated embodiments, to what grade, there's no limit. A soul can be a very prosperous king, dictator, a giant personality. In the next birth, he may come as an animal. This is not a study of evolution of the animals, how they evolve from. Evolution is a study of buildings. Your bodies are buildings. All types of buildings. When you study the building historically, then you go through evolution, how this type of building evolved out of the early state of building. So there are some buildings are there in a city that has followed past. They belong to 600 AD. Some buildings belong to much recent times. So that's what embodiments are. You can be a human being, in next embodiment can be a dog. You have always the story of Jada Bharata, a great king who is born as a deer. He practiced all his austerity and was very advanced, but in the end he became so involved with saving a deer that with that in his mind he passed away. He was born as a deer. But that involvement was not complete degradation. It was just a little repair to be done. So, in the next embodiment as a deer, he had an internal awareness. Most of these animals, many of them are very wise. Many of them do some vratas also. Go into a study of animals. Human beings have been awed by animals. So many asanas are named after animals. So, and all gods and their movements are based on the vehicles, which are animal vehicles, birds, donkeys, bulls, horses. and so many things. So, those who have not attained enlightenment, they continue to whirl through all types of, and they can go into lowly embodiments. Now, there's another simpler meaning. You don't have to literally go into animal birth. You can become so stupid. In the folk language, it will be called Ullu Kabach. Child of an owl, child of a donkey. You monkey. Don't be a bully, a bull. So, when that happens, that's what has become of you. You become a bull, you have a monkey, a donkey, led by karmas. Just as lotuses in a lake, lotuses that are shaking in wind, become steady when the wind subsides. So too, intuitive intellect becomes steady with the subsiding of illusion. Normal intellect is a shaky intellect. Mystic, intuitional intellect, just like the lotus that has been constantly shaking, and now the lotus becomes just unshaken. Shaking lotus, unshaken lotus. Shaking lotus is the heart that has not been illumined. O Rama, I am sure that by the luminous rays of my teachings, the darkness of your ignorance has been removed. You have been awakened from the long sleep of the world process. And scriptures constantly repeat this point. The world process is called Dirgha Sapana, long sleep, or call it long dream. If you continue to dream for a long time, it's still for a person who is just sleeping. The message is wake up. Wake up from this long dream. The words of spiritual preceptor work wonders in the lives of even ordinary people. So how much more they ought to work for you who possess a mind that is magnanimous and free from egoistic limitations. Vasishtha is inspiring Rama. Actually, he is describing the exact situation of Rama. Rama is highly advanced, and therefore the Guru is very happy that how much you have received from my teachings. But also explaining that even those people, even when a Guru may be giving the highest lessons that can make deserving aspirants to become enlightened, but what will happen to those who are undeserving listening to the advanced lectures? That is never rendered futile. Such is the miraculous nature of spiritual teaching. Spiritual teaching is not intellectual teaching. If you want to learn mathematics, of course, a satsanga will not help you there. But satsanga is helping you in gaining a deeper wisdom, which mathematics itself will not match up with. So that point has to be understood. What limited mind considers great attainment, wisdom, big titles, the illumined mind has that, is totally different. Just as water from a rain shower is sucked up by a hot and dry field, in the same manner your mind, which is burning with aspiration and free of the dampness of attachment, must be intensively absorbing my teachings. Two characteristics of a deserving mind: burning aspiration and free of the dampness of attachment. Two ways describing the same thing, they are synonyms. It is full of fire. And hardly you wait to hear more. There is no dampness now. Full of fire means you become illumined. Brahman alone is. Dampness gone. The world is not there. All this is Brahman. That's pointing to the dampness is God. So subtle points. Tell me, O Rama, have you followed my teachings? Have you attained enlightenment? My words ought to have become a garland of spiritual flowers decking your personality. Another point you have to understand, when Vasishtha is saying all this, my teaching, his my teaching relates to teachings of the Guru. All personalities that are enlightened, they are the Guru. And if you are highly advanced, you learn lessons from anything in the world, because the world is created by God. Dattatreya has talked about 24 Gurus. He covered 7 days and 24 hours. A joke. So that type of understanding. Of course, satsanga, role of satsanga has to be understood, where you do listen to the teachings presented by sages. Section 5. Rama speaks of his experience. Now Rama opens his heart. Sri Rama said, O sage, by the force of your luminous wisdom, I have discovered the self. Though this world exists from an apparent point of view, I have become free from its snares. Snares called trap. Vishaya Phanda. You come into the world and you are trapped. But if you have assimilated spiritual teaching, you will not be trapped by the world. The world doesn't have any power. All the clouds have no power to affect the sun. From the point of view of the people on the earth, yes, every little cloud can obstruct your view. But your view is obstructed. That doesn't mean that the truth has been affected. Truth remains the same. My restless heart is now rid of its feverish grief. That's the brief result of spiritual enlightenment. All your grief is gone. Ashotyananva shochastvam. All that you are that you grieve about all things that you are grieving for. They are not worth grieving for. That's what the Gita says. Satyananva shochastvam. That's in the beginning stage of the teaching. And in the end stage, Krishna adds ma shucha. O Arjuna, you have been all that you have been thinking about the world and concerned about the world. They are not worth. Because your grief will make no change. Do your duty, that's the message. But if you sit down and grieve, whom are you helping? Yourself, people around. Because grief is not finding a solution. You are just promoting a negativity within your personality. If you say, what else can I do? Come to satsanga. Use your intellect to utilize the time in such a way. Do your duties. Be involved with integral movement so that you give very brief period for your grief. And that's the treatment for the grief. The more time you give to it, more strength it gathers. Minimum time you give to it, then it is treatable. And in treating, it is a matter of understanding. All that you are grieving for, not worth grieving for. Your old cloth has been torn, you don't have to grieve for. You go on getting new clothes. And come to a state, realize you don't need clothes. Clothes referring to the body. You don't need body, mind, intellect. You are Brahman, the Absolute. When you are in a state of ignorance, you are in Shokvatika. The whole earth provides a kind of a big orchard or a big jungle of grief. When you listen to the scriptures, you are in Ashokavatika, sorrowless. I am now free of all doubts. The mirage of desires has disappeared. I am no longer associated with objects, no longer tainted by subtle desires. And this is summation of the statement that's constantly made. These three types of obstacles are removed. Sanshaya bhavana, asambhavana, viparita bhavana. Your bhavana is the basis of your understanding, not your dry intellect. Bhavana relates to your heart, but appeals to your heart. Because ultimately your heart has to prove approval of your own progress, not the head. And that approval requires removing three things. Sanshaya, doubting mind. Doubting means you are in two positions. Morning you have started going to the east, the afternoon to the west, evening repenting, why didn't I go to the east? Next day following the same. I'm making it simple. And then you come to a state of being disgusted with this, making errors this way, that way. Sit back, it's impossible. Called asambhavana. And use your intellect. Liberation, how many effort people have done. Look, that saint had to go through so many things, that one had to go through. I can't do that all the time. And if at all, it will be some other birth. Not. So this type of settled understanding within yourself that is impossible for me. It may be good, but it's impossible. That's another obstacle. Because your own judgment does not determine the real advancement you are making. If you are doing sadhana, you yourself are not the judge. Therefore need always a guidance. Even in ordinary artistic studies, if you are learning music, you are not the judge to pass, to give yourself a big grade. You have to have some skilled person who can verify it, authenticate it. And viparita bhavana, that's a tricky. That's confusion between bhava pratyaya and pratyaya bhava. Seeing your face in a mirror, and someone asks, what are you seeing? What do you say? I'm just shaping up my face. But it is a pure lie. Your eyes are set on the mirror. But it is the mirror that goes completely out of your sight, though you are constantly facing the mirror. Consciousness within you is your mirror. That never goes away. All you are experiencing is the mirror of consciousness. Your good times, bad times, adversity, prosperity, birth, death, all you are experiencing are reflections in the mirror. The real experience that you have, that is immutable, unalterable, pure consciousness. That consciousness, you are unable to understand, that is the truth. Satyam eva jayate. When that understanding comes, then your viparita bhavana is cut down. Begin to understand each time when you face a situation, your mind turns, who am I? Who is handling all this? Of course, extending it, you get into your personality, karma, bhakti, jnana. Like Hanuman said, Deha buddhyatu dasoham. I'm a slave of God. First state, you are an instrument. Second state, you are a ray of God. As a soul, you can shine with the illumination that belongs to God. How much? There is no limit. And essentially, you are the God. So when you follow this, you are treating your viparita bhavana. You end up attaining enlightenment. All the three gets removed. Sanshaya, asambhavana, viparita bhavana. And with this I'm concluding. Om Ram 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 Om Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras, of divine grace over all. May God inspire everyone to attain enlightenment. Sabko sanamati de Bhagavan, and be blessed with Shakti, strength to face challenges. Bhakti, devotion to God that makes everything that you do, even difficult challenges you face, it becomes saras. You find sometimes exhausting time in your kitchen, but you are making a waffle. It is a saras movement. You don't complain. And finally, mukti, shakti, bhakti, mukti. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam urvarukam bandhanan mrityor mukshiyamamritat. Om sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kashchid dukbhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.